or with just nothingness in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I still think there are a lot of good clients and a lot of good companies and smart companies who value, design thinking and value good people. But it's definitely taken a toll. And I've seen this because I've been around a while. It just seems like the hits keep on coming and you have to keep reinventing yourself. And I really like this process. So I'm definitely all about implementing that and getting as many people on board with it as possible.
Very cool. Thank you, Kim. I'm gonna maneuver to your left and go to Andy Davis, one of the premier people in April that their entire team loved. I will put it out there that you were. I cannot stop. I had to mute my email after a while with all the comments about the accolades given from your last session. So with that backdrop, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, that's a lot to live up to, and we had such a great time and a great team. And again, my hat's off to you, Robert. The event was fantastic. I'm looking forward to this next one. A little bit about myself. So I'm just about 40 miles west of Mr. Scrope. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas, and grew up in Dallas. So I'm definitely a Dallas native. And again, my name's Andy Davis. So background. So I have kind of an interesting background. I came out of college and decided I was going to take on the world with multimedia design and all that great stuff. Over the course of 15 years, found myself leading all of IT for our company. And then through a process of shifts and strategy changes, found myself really in product management and loved it. And then, about 6 years ago, along came a project. We hired a consultancy, and it was a bunch of UX UI people coming in to help us rethink a product. And I said, oh, wow, that's what I've been doing all these years. And that's where my heart has been. I just didn't know there was really a label for it, oddly enough. So I've been on this journey for the past 6 years. I'm just a lifelong learner. I like to soak up everything about anything design sprint, UX, all of those things. But I really I really lean in the direction of kind of the science behind it, and really how people respond and collaborate is one of my biggest passions, because I truly believe that the future is all about how we collaborate, and the more quickly we can understand how to do so in a digital and virtual way, it'll become the new norm. And once we get to that threshold, then I think the sky is the limit. So I'm super excited about these things. Let's see what else. I had some notes here. I work for, my role currently is leading UX and innovation for a company called Inspirus. And we are a recognition company. So we help Fortune 500 companies. We enable their employees to recognize each other for the job well done. And then we also celebrate service anniversaries and things like that. So we do all that turnkey for Fortune 500. And we're also part of a larger company called Sodexo. You may have heard of them. It's the 19th largest employer in the world. And that includes militaries and governments. So they're actually in the middle of a big change and transformation, trying to become more digital and rethink all of their services and products. So my aspiration is to kind of be an internal evangelist of design sprint methodologies to help that company in its journey to become who it needs to be for the next 50 years. Just a couple of quick notes. One of my big interests is cycling. A lot of people don't know, but I competed at the world championship level for several years when I was a little bit younger. But I've been riding since I was 12 years old, and I love cycling. And I really enjoy the thought of taking my skills and my knowledge and sharing it with nonprofits and youth to help them learn and grow and benefit from these things.
Cool. If I did a search for Andy Davis cycling, would anything come up on Google?
Well, you know what? I haven't Googled that in many, many years, so I don't know what will come up. You might see something at the Manchester Stadium at some point, but
I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering if you have a picture with a cycling face on it. Like usually when you're in the middle of something, There's like, you're intense, you get the sunglasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Robert, you might, you've been in Dallas for a while. You might remember EDS. They had a huge cycling team, and I was fortunate to be a big part on the periphery of helping the team and training with them quite a bit and all that fun stuff.
Very cool.
Now, Robert, Andy sounds like he's from Texas. You do not.
Yes, I am from Michigan. I'm a transplant.
Okay, there we go. I thought I heard a Midwestern. Yeah, okay.
He got here as quick as he could.
Yes, I won't get into that because we're going to saturate our time with those stories. But yes, you may be onto something there, Andy. So thank you. The incomparable Valentina Coco-Harry, who is as the months go on, I'm more and more of a fan. So please introduce yourself.
Oh, wow. I'm flattered. Well, I'm Valentina. I work in finance since about 15 years. I'm originally an engineer who was working on artificial intelligence and neural networks and big data before the computing power was up to the task, and therefore got restructured out of the company within 3 years of starting that job, and moved to finance. That was about 20 years ago. And ever since, I've been working in corporate finance and controlling with a passion for supply chain process improvement, lean. I've done some certification on lean. I've been working on various stream mapping, the finance processes at various companies. And so it kind of seemed natural that when I heard about a new agile way of working and improving decision processes, designing processes and everything, I wanted to learn it. So I had some time off in the summer. I got in touch with Robert. I did the AJ and Smart Masterclass. And since then, I've fallen in love with the concept and the application of it. LDJs, Lightning Decision Gems, are like my favorites of them all, even more than the actual sprint, because I find them a bit more versatile and easier to reapply in corporate culture. My mission now is that I'm doing this as a side passion project of mine on top of my day job as a controller, hopefully developing it in finance or in other corporate areas, get enough training and experience under my belt, and then bring it into my company or other companies. I'm consulting and supporting no-profits on my free time for women that want to get into in STEM, and companies that at the same time are having a hard time recruiting women in STEM, supporting diversity. So if this is something that I can help, with events and coaching and sprints and whatnot, all the better. Fun fact about me, I'm a runner. Besides other things, I love to run. I normally run half marathons. I might try my hand at a full marathon this year. And my favorite runs of them all, a passion that came when I was in California, is run at Disneyland. So at least once a year, I do a full-fledged costume Disney race.
Pretty
This
cool.
year was a half marathon in Paris.
So if you do run in the Disney marathon, do you go in costume, or do you just basically go in your running gear and kind of go from there?
No, well, this year, as I was awfully unprepared for my half marathon, like I did not run for 6 weeks before actually going and doing my half marathon. I stuck to the running gear and a unicorn printed t-shirt and a unicorn headband. In prior years, when I was better trained, I've done it in full costume.
I'd love to see pictures of those things just to see what it would be like, the actual evolution when you first started, all the way to the costumes that you had chose from year to year.
Yeah, no, those pictures are in the vault, never to be found and seen again. But I have to say, it's a special thing of people cheering and kids going, "Mommy, I high-five the princess," or whatever it is.
So there, yeah, you have those events. Okay, thank you, Valentina.
Thank you.
And then we're going to introduce Fatima, who I believe is the author of the original challenge of Childcare Nirvana. So Fatima, maybe we can do a double thing where first you're going to introduce yourself and what you're all about, and then maybe get some context around the challenge that you had submitted, and that'll probably segue into us starting to get into the LDJ a bit.
Hi everyone, my name is Fatima. Sorry about my voice. I'm dealing with flu at the moment. I live in Brisbane, Australia, and my background, I'm a designer. I used to be industrial designer when I was in Iran. Then I moved to Australia around 9 years ago and started working as a web designer and interaction designer. And at the moment, I'm writing the last 2 chapters of my PhD. And I'm teaching in QUT University here in Brisbane as well. And most of the units that I teach are related to technology and design, emerging technology, and how it affects design process and design outcome. And I also teach in the School of IT, mostly units related to user experience and user research. And the reason that I suggested that, and I have a toddler as well. I have a 3 years old little girl. And the reason that I suggested that topic was that back a few months ago, I applied for a job as a service designer for a childcare, really big childcare company here in Brisbane. I didn't get the job, but because in the process that my toddler started going to childcare, I saw that lots of moms struggle to trust childcare, and I saw lots of kids when I went to pick up my child because in Australia we have 2 different kind of cares, child cares and family family. In childcare center, usually they keep, 20-30 kids in one room with a few educators, whereas in family daycare, one person look after your child in her home with 3 more kids. And I noticed that in family daycares, usually kids cry a lot because they don't have much personal bonding with educators. And I also listen to podcasts when I'm driving to my work. And I listen to a TED podcast, and in that podcast they had a conversation about that when kids have a bad experience, it had an effect on their brain shape or construction or something like that. And so I thought that how we could change that experience for parents and especially for kids when they struggle to have a bonding during that critical age that they need bonding with a person, and they need attachment with a person in their child care, but the educator couldn't provide that emotional support for kids in that situation.
Fatima, did you say that the kids cried more when they were in the bigger group or in the home? In my own experience, my kids start at a big childcare, and every single day that it is normal that when you drop off your child at childcare, they cry for a few minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes when their parent leave. But the problem was more obvious in the afternoon when I used to pick up Claire, and I saw that lots of kids used to cry and call their mom's or dad's name, and they were waiting behind those glass walls for someone to come and pick them up. And the reason that I took my child out of childcare system because she used to become sick all the time.
And then we, yeah, so in our case, my toddler going to a family daycare for a year now. And she's really happy there. And she, every afternoon that I go to pick her up, she doesn't want to come back home because she has a really strong bonding with the lady that's minding her.
Yeah. Yeah. What age are we talking about at the childcare centers?
From a 1 year old to, they start from basically from 6 months old to 2.5 years old. And the thing that I forgot to tell you is that my research is about product attachment. But it is some part of that, it's a psychological concept, which is about when we are toddler or when we are little, we usually have a teddy bear or a blanket that we call security blanket. So my research is about that concept, which is called product attachment. And when we grow up, we still have that emotional attachment to some objects, but the level of attachment decrease. And we still have those attachments because of the security that they provide. And usually those objects replace someone else or remind us someone else or a good memory that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you, Fatima. So before we get into the exercises themselves, does anyone on the call have any questions for Fatima over the way she described the background to this challenge or idea that would kind of help you with kind of getting an understanding of what you'll be talking about? So in essence, do you have any questions for Fatima to kind of flesh out a bit what she's already either explained or put into the challenge here? And if not, we can get right into it. Going once, going twice. All right. So what you're going to be doing throughout this exercise is looking back at what Fatima's kind of written here and what she's talked about as a way of kind of being a North Star for this exercise. So if you start getting a little wayward or lost with some of the exercises or need some direction, you can fall back to this. But with the lightning decision jam process, we're going to be basically concentrating on two things. One is that we're going to be starting with things that are working. So in this case, we're going to be looking at things that are working with the childcare experience in general. And then from there, we're going to be considering like what things are there that are problematic about the childcare experience, specifically in relation to what Fatima's talking about, maybe your own experiences, but you can put those there. But for now, and I think Sandy's already kind of like zeroed in on us, all of us on this, is that you're going to be going into this space here, and on a sticky note, or sorry, on a digital card that you see, go ahead and put something that you feel is currently working with the childcare experience where you are currently. So Fatima's over on the other side of the world, so her experience may be different than, say, one in Chicago or even one in Dallas, or perhaps also different in Europe. But basically put put your thoughts in here. We'll take a few minutes to do this around things that are currently working with the childcare experience that you're aware of. And we'll kind of do that for 2 or 3 minutes. Again, all you have to do is just take your mouse and double click on any one of the cards to write out a thought, and you can write as many thoughts as you'd like. And Sandy, I don't think we'll be doing any kind of affinity diagramming or voting on this section. It'll just be kind of focusing on the problems unless you feel strongly that we should.
I think it's good. Should we set a timer though?
No.
No? Okay.
No? Yeah, you're right. We should. Sorry. I'm thinking of something different. So
we could just look at the clock.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. We'll make it 2 minutes. If you need more time, then we can do that.
Sure.
We'll kind of, since we ran over a little bit, we'll just kind of shorten the points, or at least the exercise length, and then we can go back if we need to. I do like the horse and the tether kind of example rather than the sailboat one.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out, look, the sailboat is always forced to have the vertical format because the thing on top and the thing on the bottom. And I was like, what can I use that has the same kind of metaphor?
No, I like it. Are you going to try to use the outline for this?
What do you mean? So
Are you going to go into the outline and go into the particular steps for each one?
no, I think.
Okay. I've just had the outline open on the right-hand side. That's all I'm doing is just kind of clicking on those particular.
Yeah, because I just left. I just have the timing there, but.
You got it.
Yeah.
And at some point the doorbell may ring and I'll go up and get it, but for now I'm okay. But I think somebody's not trying to get in the house, but needs to get my attention. You got about 15 seconds left. Go ahead and finish your thought if you're right now digital card. Okay. So for this next section, you're going to take a look at what people have written down and what you have as well for things that are working. And in contrast, you're going to think about all of the problems of the childcare experience from your own perspective. You'll do the same thing, double clicking anywhere on obstacles and problems and putting in your thoughts there. One idea per sticky note, or at least not idea, but one problem obstacle per sticky note. And again, if you need reference, all you have to do is look at the section we just finished versus for things that are working and just thinking the diametric opposite and seeing if that does ring true. So go ahead and take, I'll say 3 minutes for this one, and we'll see where we are after that. And Sandy, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go check on something.
Okay.
Okay, we have 15 seconds left. If you're working on a card, go ahead and finish up your thought. All right, I'll wait for those last two cards to get done. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take all of these that have just been done, all of these digital cards, and I'm going to copy them and move them over to the right in the next section. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be prioritizing problems, but the first thing we're going to be doing is taking all these cards that you see here, and I'm going to just grid these out so that they're all kind of together. What I want you to do is take a look at them and go ahead and affinity diagram them. So what that means is you're going to think of, if you see 2 or 3 cards that look very similar, that they could be put on a particular category, use the cards on the left to give them a group name or like a kind of like what you would kind of assemble them together. Just grab one of those cards and drag it over here, just like this, and then start putting cards vertically right underneath it. So if this card is under this group or this card's under this group, just go and assemble them so that they fit a common theme. This is going to set the stage for voting, but this is a way of basically kind of looking at it all, what everyone said about problems and kind of putting them under different categories. We'll take a couple minutes to do that. We have about 15 seconds left. Looks like we're pretty good on where things are situated.
Yeah, I think we are done actually.
Okay. All right, so we'll go into a voting session. So in Mural, I'm going to start the voting process. And since we have about, looks like 5, 10, 15, about 20, I think I'm going to give everyone about, let's see, 7 votes to basically place on any of the gray cards that you see, not the categories, but the gray cards. And what you're going to be doing is basically answering the question, what is probably the most important problem to consider, or important problems to consider from this particular set. So let me start with that. And the question is, what are the more important problems to consider. Yeah. So the way, if you've never done voting in Miro before, is that when we start the voting session, you'll click on a card to vote on it, like any gray card that you see in that section. You're going to shift click to remove a vote or take a vote away from something that you placed down, just in case you change your mind. And no one will be able to see where your cursor goes. So this is completely anonymous. I won't be voting in this, but everyone else is free to do so. When I start to see that people are getting close to getting done with their votes, I'll start speaking up saying that there's either an anonymous bird that has so many votes and kind of go from there. But for now, go ahead and start voting. And when those votes are completely done, we'll go ahead and take a look at the results and move forward.
I won't be voting either, so.
Okay. So we're going to climb quickly to the top of the charts. It'll be interesting to see if we have two anonymous elephants. So we're going to see which one actually.
Oh, it's the first time I see the two same animals.
Yeah, a blue elephant and a brown elephant. So far, blue elephant's like blazing through. Oh, here comes. There goes brown. It's like, what are you saying? We have an anonymous horse that's still thinking deeply about the cards. And Sandy, this is where that note and vote thing comes in, because you'll kind of know who's like away from the keyboard versus somebody who's actually paying attention.
Mm.
Okay, so Kim's done. She's like, lickety split, I'm done. Got it all done. She's the first to cross. Anonymous Owl is about to join her. Fatima's got a couple left. There goes Owl. She's done it. Wow, blue elephant just basically blazed through everything. They're coming third. Okay. Fourth place is up to an anonymous cow. Nope.
Yeah, anonymous cow.
Anonymous cow just took it. Fatima's about to finish up.
Then the brown elephant.
Yep, and we have an anonymous horse that just goes, not doing a thing, which is fine. Okay, one more.
One more vote.
Almost there. Almost there. All right, so give a few seconds for anonymous horse to wake up. Going once, going twice. It's time to end it. Okay, let's see where we landed. So it looks like we have like a series of votes that not only had 4 votes, but also had some unique votes that were on there. So they're all fairly close. It looks like good preschool are expensive and additional money is a burden for families. Psychological effects of preschool, the parent is not taken into account. Childcare workers should have proper consistent training, and preschoolers are focused on physical needs, not social and emotional. So for the purposes of going forward, we're going to take these 4 and put them into the next area. So I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, Sandy, I think just cut and paste would work. So basically,
okay. You can just copy the cards. Oh.
Yeah, putting a border on them so we remember by visual after it's done. Yep. And then taking those 4 and bringing them down into the arrangement of priority.
I have a question here.
Go ahead.
In one case, for example, when there's one of these that doesn't apply in the area where I live because preschools are all the same cost by law. It doesn't matter. They all cost the same. Even the private ones. So should I not vote on that one specifically, so not to skew the importance of or the priority of that? Because for me, it's not relevant, so I can't tell.
I would say if it doesn't apply to you, Valentina, then I don't think you, I would say you just don't have to vote for it. Or just
yeah, exactly. So yeah. I'm not gonna put my cursor when that one gets discussed, so that is, I'm not gonna skew, like, I'm not gonna say low importance just because it doesn't apply, because I don't wanna mess with the average.
Yeah, so if your arrow is nowhere to be seen or not moving, then it's totally fine.
Okay.
All right. So for this one, and I'll gather everybody around this one, is that we're going to be taking the 4 that were top votes and we're going to arrange them in order of priorities, meaning that if you have an important scale down here, the way this works is that you're going to take your mouse, as you see on my screen, you're going to kind of move it someplace where you think it lies. So let's take the first one. Goods preschool are expensive and added money is a burden for families. In terms of importance, would you bring that more towards the high side or bring it more towards the low side in terms of, from your perspective, what's important? And to basically give your vote for what you think, you just have to basically put your mouse here or move it here, kind of a circle, so that basically there can be some visual to show where people think. So Kim and Anonymous Elephant are kind of moving their mouses over here. I see Fatima kind of going all over the place. Oh, she's way down there. Anonymous Cow is kind of thinking about it. It's kind of reading it and going, okay, right around there. Okay, so between those extremes, it seems like this one kind of lies somewhere right there. You take those two between Fatima and people over here. So we'll go into preschool, are focused on physical needs, not social and emotional. Now, in terms of where you think this is, also beyond kind of your own point of view, think about whether or not this particular one goes ahead or behind the good preschool are expensive and added dollars for burden families. So go ahead and move your mouse around for a vote. And we got 2 that are way at the high. Kim's kind of like at the center, and the cow says, you know what, I'm kind of in the middle. So we're gonna put it just right around here, I think, right around there. Since we got 2 frenetic arrows going on over here. Childcare workers should have proper consistent training. Where does that fall into importance relative to this one as well as to this one? Where do you think it falls? Got some people that are over here, kind of in this side. Then we have Anonymous Elephant going crazy over there. Wow, it's all 3. So I think it's probably going to sit right here because essentially there's a high and a low over here and then one right in the middle. Then finally, the psychological effects of preschool of the parent is not taken into account. Where does that fall in the midst of these 3 cards in relation to it? So Kim's way down at the low. We got 2 frenetic arrows here. Anonymous Elephant's kind of somewhere in the middle. I think between all of those, we're looking right around here, right around there. Anyone have any problems with the way the cards are listed there? Because it looks like that's kind of where everyone's kind of focusing, looks like. Yeah? Okay. So let's go down here real fast, and we're going to go into this part, which is reframing as a challenge, or reframing the problem as a challenge. Now, what we're going to be doing is the top voted problem, or at least the top problem that we have, if I go back over here, is going to be this one, which is, whoa, I got moved. Go back over here. So the top one looks like it's preschools are focused on the physical needs and not the social and emotional ones. So I'm going to take that, since it was the leader over on that exercise, and bring it back over into here. What we're going to be doing is taking this. Oh, somebody already put it there. How about that? I wonder who did that. Skipping ahead, are you? That's fine. So this is the top problem in terms of like what we're looking at. Now, the way this exercise works is that you're going to be using a phrase called "how might we." And "how might we" is a phrase that was vetted by Procter & Gamble back in the 1970s. And it's meant to take, instead of going rushing to solutions, you're going to be thinking about possibilities, or just basically finishing the sentence on where things could go. So if the problem is preschools are focused on the physical needs, not the social and emotional, you have to write a "how might we" that maybe explores a potential solution, but not necessarily coming to a conclusion. So one example could be, how might we, and I'm just writing it out for the sake of example. So how might we create a curriculum that's more emotional, that includes, I'm just, again, emotional intelligence for toddlers, right? If such a thing exists. This is a way of kind of posing the question where you don't know the answer, but you're speculating on where this could go. And I'll kind of make this a bit more sentence focused. Preschool is focused on physical needs and not social and or emotional. I think that kind of names it pretty good. right? Okay. And I'm gonna make this a little letter, just a tad. Okay. So that's the way this works. And some of you already jumped in and started. Go for it. Go ahead and start writing some how might we phrases that correspond to this particular problem. And we'll give everyone, let's say, 3 minutes for this one. And if you finish early, that's good because we can move on. Otherwise, take your time and really think about what you may speculate on. If you have any questions, just speak up. Hey, Sandy. I'm thinking that after that we get through towards the end and we look at the interest versus time that they want to spend on it, we can bring it back to the main team mural and see where people are kind of situated and see if people really want to move forward with something. We could kind of, change around where people's team assignments are, or seeing if there's enough people around a particular idea that there's a potential for adoption, and just kind of map all of our activities back to that mural.
Sounds good.
Okay. Got about 1 minute left. Does anybody need extra time? And Sandy, how are you feeling about if we preload these LDJs with information about the participants that accept the end meeting invite? Do you feel fairly confident in kind of walking through these same kind of exercises of the LDJ?
Say it.
Are you pretty confident that you can walk through the LDJs for like the ones that you're going to be doing through the week?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay.
I kind of want to experiment different ways though.
That's fine. And sometimes part of it is just basically like doing audibles, figuring it out.
But it's interesting to see how this template thing works out.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting that people will be fighting up with like all the sticky notes, like don't know which one to write. But don't see that happening. So
I think from a facilitator standpoint, it gets a little used to the way how you're supposed to carry things forward, but that's totally fine. Okay, we have looks like just under 20. We have 18 cards, so we're going to give people. Let's give you 6 to work with in terms of voting on which how might we's are the most important to consider. So I'll start another voting session, and I'll put which how might we's the most important. And I'll make it 7. Why not? Let's have some fun. We had 7 last time. We'll do it this time too. And again, you're going to be voting on the cards themselves, not the how might we or the line, just basically any card that you feel would be an important how might we to consider given the problem that we've voted on, which your preschools are focused on the physical needs, not the social and or emotional. And we'll see where the votes come out. So go at it, go and vote. Let's see how the votes go. And right now, Blue Elephant and Kim are going at it right off the bat. They aren't wasting any time. Right out the door. Oh, and then, wow, brown elephants join. Now owls in the mix. Horse is not moving. Horse is not confident at all with their voting. Wow, cow and elephant. Blue elephant. Nope. This is a quick race. I don't even have to call it. You just basically look. Wow, cow's about to go off. Oh, blue elephant and cow. Who's going to be last? Oh, cow crosses the line first. Would have told me like 2 months ago I'd be calling like who crosses the finish line for a voting session in Mural with like, you know, digital avatars representing animals. I would never guess. Kim's being very careful at that last vote. She's not getting pressured into me saying anything. This elephants. It's got 2 votes left. Nope, now 1. Now nothing. And Fatima, of course, is very thoughtful, taking her time. Nope, this one. No, maybe. Nope, this one maybe. Horse is still having nothing at it. Mateo, are you voting?
Yeah, I'm the fastest cow. I don't know if I have wheels or something like that. But fast.
That's good. Well, I figured you're the drummer. You got fast hands. You know what? You're just going.
Right. That's right.
All right. Got all the votes in. And the voting session going once, going twice. The horse is still absent. And we got 2. We got how may we measure if the needs are being met for each child and parent group? And how might we create enough one-on-one time between parents and teachers to discuss emotional and social needs of the child? Very interesting. Go ahead and hit those, put borders on them, copy them over, bring them into the next session. I actually think we could probably do both. I mean, Sandy, judgment call here. What do you think would be the proper way of going about this? Do you want to consider 2 how might we's, or do you want to, since they were both tied, both in unique votes and as like vote?
Yeah, I would actually like to consider just 1 because it gets too diverse or something.
Okay. Well, let's experiment in the interest of what we were talking about before. Let's experiment with at least seeing where the solutions go. And then if the solutions are all over the place, we can vote. And then based on the votes, we can see which one of these how my we's kind of like vets himself out. So this is kind of like a secondary race. So in this particular section, or this step, is you're going to ideate without discussions. And you want to, from the how my we's, you want to ideate on the solutions. You're going to try to figure out the answers to either one of these 2 questions. And when you do that, you want to go after quantity, not quality. Don't worry so much about how well thought out your solution is. Just go with your instinct more than anything else. Okay? So when you put down your solutions, basically put them out as like the thought that crosses your mind when you consider either of these how might we statements. And then based on the voting that we do later on, we'll figure out which one of these how might we tends to align with the final voted solution. Okay? So have at it. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Again, down here in the solution, basically double click on a card and put in the solution you think would work for either how might we, and we'll take it from there.
One more time, what are we supposed to do, Robert? Double click on the one we want to work on?
So yeah, so the how might we says, how might we create enough one-on-one time between teachers and parents to discuss emotional and social needs of the child? One potential solution off the top of my head is to do a Zoom meeting online to discuss a preset agenda. That's one potential solution.
Where do we type this in? I'm sorry.
The ideation.
Let me call you over here, right
Thank
down.
you.
So I'm kind of typing in this section here where it says solution.
Gotcha.
Solution. Go ahead and put your thoughts right in that point.
And do we have to delineate which how might we were answering anywhere?
No, because what's going to happen is that you can answer either one of them. When we go to voting, if there's a top voted one that votes that seems to align with a particular how might we eliminate the other one.
Got it.
That makes sense?
Yep.
Okay. 2 minutes, please. Go. So 1 minute left. Does anybody need more time? And it's okay to ask for more. I won't think any less of you. All you have to do is just say me, and I'll say, all right, 1 more minute. "15 seconds left." Okay, wrap up your thoughts. Go ahead and get rid of the solution cards that don't belong here, or at least the ones that just say solution. Right. Okay, so it looks like we got, I kind of assemble these back into the fold. We got about just under 20. Let's, Sandy, you call the number of votes this time. How many votes should we give everybody for ideation?
Day 5.
5? Okay.
Yeah.
So the vote we're going to be doing is which ideas are the most compelling? Right. So if you're voting on the great cards that on the ideation side, Fatima, stop typing. I see that. Get done with it. All right. Anybody else? I'm about to the voting. Ready? And here we go. So 5 votes. Put them anywhere you like on the ideation cards that are there. And Sandy, we can use the priority scale right after this if there's more than one, so that we can vet out the one that we want to move forward with.
Yeah. Oh, the hour is really fast.
Well, and yeah, I needed to, just because we were encroaching about 13 minutes in, so I've been making these fairly quick. Oh, you're talking about the voting, sorry.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm talking about the voting, the owl, and the elephant.
Like, screw this. Everyone's getting the hang of the voting, it looks like.
Yeah.
Super fast.
Oh, what left?
Even Fatima's going faster than usual. Oh, there's a change.
Yay.
There, almost, just about. There's that one vote that's going to make all the difference, Fatima. Don't screw it up. All right, let's see where everybody landed. And we got 3. We got 2 that are unique as votes. This offer peer groups for parents that have similar issues. Psychologists are third-party checks of kids' emotional development, share with parents, and create a living child journey map timeline showing values of emotional development that parents can review. Interesting.
Oh.
Got those?
Yep.
Right. Copy these. Same thing as last time. We're going to order those 3 in terms of priority, and that will kind of lend our get an idea of where we're supposed to be for the how might we that corresponds to it. So we're going to start with the first one, which is create a living child journey map timeline showing peaks and valleys for their emotional developments that parents can review. In terms of importance, where do you think this card should live? Go ahead and put your mouse over a part of the arrow here, low or high, in terms of where you think it should live. And looking like there's 2 or 3 people. There's one down here. Brown Elephant thinks it's lower. We got a cacophony of people that are right here saying this. So I'm going to kind of do it just a little here. It's right around there. Psychologist, third party, check each kid's emotional development, share it with parents. In relation to this card, is it higher or lower? And if so, how high or how low should it go? We're looking, wow. It's like 2 here. There's 2. Oh, well, there's Blue Elephant going nuts over here. Okay. So it looks like I would say slightly here. I think probably the halfway point. There's some that want here, but I think the majority were in the middle and down, so it's somewhere here. Okay, last one. Offer peer groups for parents that have similar issues. In relation to these cards here, does it belong above here, below here, and how far? So we got a lot of people. There's some bouncy. There's blue elephants bouncing up. And then anonymous tile is not impressed all the way at the low end, but I think with enough people on the over here, I think it's kind of sitting right in front. So offer peer groups for similar issues. We go back to the how might we, and I'm going to bring it up to this. So in terms of how might we create enough one-on-one time between teachers and parents to discuss emotional, there's peer groups. How might we measure the emotional and social parent group? So just a quick check with the people that are on the call. I'll summon everybody over to where I am. Which of these two do you think that this corresponds to most? Would it be number 1 or number 2? Go ahead and put your mouse over the one that you think should, which how might we should it quote to. So this is 1 and this is 2. So Fatima's saying 2. All right, so everyone's saying this one. Goodbye, number 1. No, there it goes. So I'll take these 3 and bring, or these 2, because I already copied them over. I'll bring them over to here.
Oh, I already got them.
Oh, yeah, fine. Okay. So
she's lightning fast.
Oh yeah, well I'm the talker, she's the doer, so that makes sense. So we're going to decide on what to execute. So we brought all 3 in. I think the peer groups one is the one that seemed to have the most resonance. That these 2 are secondary, but we'll put them to the effort, impact, interest matrix all the same. So if we're talking about offer peer groups for parents that have similar issues, let's put this right here as the one we lead with. I'll copy it to this. So what I'm going to do here, and Sandy, you tell me what you would recommend. In previous exercises with this matrix, I've had people put in some dots that correspond to the name, and they put where their interest is as well as their impact. What impact do you think it would have? So say for example, I would take a sticky note, and let's say it puts my name like this. And I would put it simply, okay, if I'm considering where my interest would be in terms of this particular topic, I could say like this middle ground would be like low interest, or I have pretty high interest. And if my impact would be how much of an impact do you think it would make? If I'm way over here on the spectrum, then this is something I definitely want to consider for the GVDS. If it's something that's kind of middle ground, then maybe not. It just depends on what it is. But again, this particular effort impact matrix is different from the ones that you may have seen if you've done things before. Because I think that the way you've kind of done it here, Sandy, when you did the template, is that this part right here in this square is the area that's
that's what I was.
Yeah, so this basically signifies like high impact or high interest and high impact on this side. So the way to do it again is to put your name in a little circle over here. And then once you do that, you can pick any color you want, and then start in the middle and go and just think about, okay, in terms of interest, is my interest low and you go to the left, or is my interest high and you go to the right? The extreme right being is that that's something you definitely want to do with the GVDS. Extreme low meaning like it was a nice exercise, but it's not really me. Then you do the y-axis with impact. In terms of this particular solution you chose, do you think this is something that is going to have huge impact if we pursue it, or do you think it's going to have nominal impact or no impact at all? So basically, where you sit on this is where we're interested in figuring it out. So Sandy, I'll color this and just kind of like put it.
Yeah, but then the dots are actually sitting behind it. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If I send it to back, will it help or no?
I didn't get that option before, so
okay.
I wanted to send it to the back, but I was not able to.
Okay. So go ahead and just take a few seconds to kind of figure out where you sit and everything. And then we'll kind of review it. So we'll take a minute or so. I won't do a timer. I'll just see where everyone stops moving. I'll figure out where everybody is. So far, Valentina's, show some interest, but it looks like everyone else is kind of, for this peer groups that have similar issues, looks like that it could have high impact, but the interest level is a little low in terms of the solution that we came out of with this one. Am I reading that correctly, or should I read it a different way? That'd be about right?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Now, I guess the question to ask at this point is there something here in the other two that would change your vote down in this matrix? So instead of, say, all for peer groups, the possibility, what if we did create like this one, where it is create a living child journey map timeline showing peaks and valleys for the emotional developments that parents can review.
Wait a sec. Maybe we can use the same color for each sticky, then we can capture all of them in one matrix.
So how would you do that, Sandy?
Like, wait a moment. Let me see if I can. Yes, I was thinking to just change them all in the same color.
Oh, got it. Okay, I see what you're saying. So should I make this particular one like yellow, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, then everyone changes the one to yellow.
Oh, this one I don't have the right color.
So, oh, where'd the other one go?
So I see what you're saying. So basically, you put in for the yellow one, you make a yellow circle with your name on it and you put it in.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're interested for the orange one, you make an orange circle with your initials and put it in that section. For this one that's green, you put a green circle and you put your interest in there. So I get it. So it takes all three of the different solutions and then it maps them based on color and also interest. So you should have 3 dots with your name on it. And they're just all different colors. Then you just choose where in the matrix it may sit.
Exactly.
That is very smart.
Thanks for clarifying.
No, because then we can carry this forward for another session. So it works pretty good. Okay. The last question before we break, just so Kim, from it there, I thought Kim was just like, I don't want any of them. So,
No, I'm having trouble for some reason. Like my computer's responding really slowly. So.
okay.
Oh.
So the last question I have for the group is before we break, because we're 2 minutes over time. For anything that's in this upper right-hand quadrant, if you've put in your kind of dot here, my thinking is that I can go back in the mural. Instead of a D next to your name, I put the number of the LDJ that we did so that it signifies that even though you're in a particular group, you associate your interest with a particular challenge. So that if any of these are here in this section, I can go ahead and put like a number 18 next to your card down there or next to your name, so that I know that when you come together for a potential challenge for your team, this is one consideration that you felt pretty good about. Does that make sense? So when the calculations are done, I can start putting people together that may have similar interests around a particular like challenge. So this is just one. There's going to be about 8 or 9 more that we're going to be doing of these. But I think in the aggregate, I could probably get a good idea of where people sit. And I guess the question to all of you is that, do you feel okay with me kind of associating the results of this session with your the teams and challenges mural, so that I have validation that you're interested in this particular topic?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts about the session that we did today? Any feedback, real quick feedback you want to give? Otherwise, we can break now, and then you can give that feedback offline through email or through LinkedIn or any other way you want to.
I think the board's worked really well.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right, then we're set. Before we leave, I want to stop sharing real fast. And as always, I want to do the matrix and take a quick picture. So as before, what I typically do is I'll ask everyone to take an object that's close to them and kind of hold up to the camera so we can have a group shot of some type. Let's make it some like a magazine or a book that you have that's close to you. And it's going to seem really strange, but I have plenty of Oprah magazines. This is not usually my choice, but that's okay. All right, you ready? Can I take a picture?
I don't even have a book. I'll bring my pick.
Andy, you got anything?
A water bottle.
All right, there you go. You're going to read that. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're good. Thank you all for attending today. Oh, there's Martia. Okay, fine. I will say hi. All right. Thank you all for attending. We'll probably see you during the week. Thank you very much for your points, perspective, and points of view. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.